During this trade, I was 100% sure it fit my plan. I even skimmed through my trade plan, felt confident, and accepted the risk without any hesitation. I said, yep, it fits my plan, but the next day I realized something shocking. It wasn't actually in my plan at all. This was a big wake up call for me as a trader, and I'm gonna explain exactly how I found that out. We have all taken trades that we thought actually were in our plan until we realized later actually they were not. So this trade was a perfect example of why understanding the difference between a planned entry and an opportunistic entry is so important. I'm going to break down the exact market conditions, the confluences I weighed, and where my process slipped. You will see how I reviewed in my during session journal, what I uncovered in my post-trade mindset reflection, and the specific checklist I have built now to prevent this error in the future. The goal is simple: to give you a repeatable process so you can avoid the trade that looks right in the moment but don't actually align with the proven edge. If you are new into my channel, welcome and thank you for being here, guys. I have been trading for over 3 years now, and every single day I journal and review my trades, not just the technicals but my mindset and performance. The whole purpose of this channel is to document my journey, identify the weakness, and share those lessons with you guys as well, so we can bridge the gap between live execution and actual performance. We will work on our strengths, fix our weaknesses, and ultimately push towards becoming consistent, profitable traders, both technically and mentally. Right? So before I break down this trade that I took euro dollar, I'm just gonna explain what is actually a planned entry and what is actually an opportunistic entry. So planned entry is a trade that actually we were planning before the session actually starts. So we were actually not in the live environment. So at that point, we don't have that emotion swings, and we don't actually make any mistakes. We actually become the objective whenever we do our pre-session analysis before the actual session starts, right? And what is an opportunistic entry? And this is how I observed, right? And the opportunistic entry is actually the setup which we took because of the live environment. So it's essentially that it's becoming influenced by the live environment. So at that point, our decision making will not be objective, right? So we really need to find the gap between that, and we really need to find and work towards that really quickly. Otherwise, it can mess us up. We shouldn't keep this kind of mistakes for a long period of time. Otherwise, we will be on the same area. What I mean is, like, for example, what is a planned entry? For example, if the planned entry is a going long here of using the conservative entry model, right? And so you did your analysis before the actual session starts, right? So what is your planned entry? The planned entry is using this entry model by being conservative, okay? And what is the opportunistic entry example? It's like you said you're gonna use the conservative entry model at this point, but now because of all the live environment and everything, the decisions making is not becoming objective now, and because of the influence of the environment, now you are using this POI by being aggressive. So that is an opportunistic entry. Now you said that based on your plan, you should actually use the conservative entry model, right? Now, when the actual session starts, now you are saying you're gonna use the aggressive entry model. So this does not aligns, right? So this is when that mistake happened. This is actually when we should understand that we are making a mistake and we shouldn't repeat that, and we should really need to figure out how we should approach this, because there is a significant gap in your entry model. You said you're going to use the conservative entry model, but instead during the live environment, because it may be like fear of missing out, or it may be, I don't know, it may be something else, right? And you're not in the state of, you are not in a good state of mind. Now you're going to use the aggressive entry model, which does not fit your plan. So that's the planned entry and opportunistic entry, and I'm gonna explain what mistake I did at this point, and what actually I learned, and how did I actually fix this, right? And yeah, without any delay, let's break down quickly, because this video is going to be about actually the performance of this strategy, and actually what mistake did I make, and how did I overcome that. Okay, so it's gonna be short breakdown, but we'll focus more on the mental part this time. If we go on the daily time frame, what did we got? As we know that we got this breakup structure, and I'm not seeing this as an internal breakup structure. Why? Because this was actually in the discount of this range, right? We swept this enough sell side liquidity, and with this kind of V-shaped move, see how impulsive move was, and nice corrective pullback, nice impulsive move, clearly order flow is bullish, and with this type of corrective highs above, it often becomes vacuum in price, and now simple expectation is to run the weak highs. Why? Because we got the breakup structure, we got a pullback into the discount. Now the pullback objective is complete, and now simple expectation is to run the weak high. Simple as that, nothing crazy. On the 4 hour time frame, we got this for our breakup structure, right? We got this recent for our breakup structure, so I'm weighing more importance to this recent price action, and we know that daily supply above is acting as a magnet, so playing longs from these areas can be really interesting. Why? Because this supply is acting as a magnet, it hasn't been tapped. See how this range was completely unmitigated before, right? And now what do we got? We haven't tapped it yet, but there is a much likelihood to get a deeper pullback, at least from this kind of supply, because those unmitigated range act as a magnet whenever we are having that impulsive move, and this supply becomes the final catalyst for a deeper pullback, right? So playing long from the daily perspective and from the 4 hour perspective made total sense, right? And yeah, we were sitting in this 4 hour demand, right? So yeah, high probability to play buys, 100% from the daily and the 4 hour perspective, and on the 1 hour perspective as well. So if we go on a 1 hour time frame, what do we got? We got this recent breakup structure, and just focusing more on the recent price action, which is this one. So what do we got? We got this low that has swept liquidity, and we got this a massive push up, not a massive, but it has the bullish order flow has sustained, right? And yeah, this was completely unmitigated. This supply this demand was formed through sweep, has led to this candle body closed, and we even got this perfect inducement just above, which makes this POI really high probability for buys, right? So this was what I was thinking, and actually during the live market, actually before the session start, what I was saying is, like, for example, we got this impulsive move to the downside, right? See how the impulsive move is? It's not corrective, right? The price action is pretty much impulsive. This is bearish momentum, right? And what would be different was, for example, if we got a nice push up, so this is the POI formed through sweep, which is pretty much this range, right? We got this breakup structure, we got this new POI, and what do we got? Nice corrective pullback, mitigating all the supply and leaving those kind of resting liquidities above. And now it actually makes sense to use aggressive entry model to play. Why? Because everything is there. We got this POI form to sweep, has led to the breakup structure. We have this tons of liquidity to target. Even better, this supply was acting as a magnet, which is the high time frames. And now it makes sense to be aggressive and to use the entry model, which is pretty much aggressive. And you know, I have aggressive entry model and a conservative entry model, and this is the instance where I will be very aggressive and I will be ambitious and just play, because I'm playing with the high time frame intentions. I'm not going to be afraid, because if I'm playing with high time frame intentions, that is going to actually have a higher frequency, as in a decent return. Because if I'm playing with high time frame intention, I'm going to be right more than not, right? So that made sense, right? If we pull back correctively like this, but instead, if we are not pulling back correctively and we are pretty much impulse like that, then it's become a little bit, maybe we're gonna get a deeper pullback. Why? Whenever we pull back into the key area of value, it should pull back correctively. So you always need to ask yourself which side you are in. For example, if you are going long, did price actually approach into your demand correctively? If it is, then that's a very good confluence to have when you are going long, right? And for example, if you are going long and the price is approaching into this impulsive move, then you are fighting against the momentum that is coming into your POI, and that's actually a big negative confluence to have, right? And yeah, so we actually need to give price a little bit time to decelerate. And deceleration, what it means is, like, for me, that's the conservative entry model. And not waiting for deceleration and just riding the momentum is, I'm gonna use the aggressive entry model. Okay, and yeah, that's what I planned. And actually during the before the session started, I was pretty much focusing on this pair, and I was just seeing this demand. And what I was thinking, let me pull the during session journal, what I was thinking. Okay, so at 6:58, so this was actually just before the session start. What I said to myself was, don't worry about buying in the premium. Momentum is very strong. Keep playing buys. Fine, that makes sense. 1140, we just missed 4-hour supply range above, which is this one. It just makes sense to play longs with well-developed range, okay? This is key. What I said to myself was, it just makes sense to play longs with well-developed range. And what were the positive confluence? POI formed to sweep, cut significant move away, has inducement just above, unmitigated POI, nested within 4-hour demand as well. Enough risk reward on my side to target at least even this high would be more than enough, because I'm going to using M15. And the big negative confluence for this was bearish momentum into the POI, may mitigate much deeper into the POI, which is this one. And almost, right, I used the discretion to add buffer, but it doesn't meet my plan to add buffer just because I want to. So this is a big lesson for me as well on the side. Why? Because I was almost trying to use that extra buffer, because if you look on M15 over there, entry model was just setting up like that, right? And I was about to use a stop loss over there, and my target will be somewhere around here, because I always use fixed 2R. And I almost used that entry stop loss buffer I added, but actually I caught it myself and I didn't use it because it does not make sense. Just because I feel like I have to use discretion, I don't have to. I should be objective with the trading plan, right? And 1144, I got tagged in. I just don't feel confident because of bearish momentum, but this was in my plan. So yeah, let's go on M15 and we'll go bye. So this was the 4-hour time frame. We were playing within this demand. This was the M15. This was the POI that I was trying to play. And what I was saying, like, yeah, we got tagged in over there. And what I was saying, got tagged in. I just don't feel confident because of the bearish momentum, but this was in my plan. Remember, I said this was in my plan, okay? There are too many positive confluences for this trade to execute regardless of the outcome. That's what I said on the 1144. It was just after the session start at this point, right? I just didn't feel the confident with this type of momentum. But I said to myself that it fit my plan. It's fine, right? And on 11:57, what did I say? Bulls are strong. Just by looking at this candle, what I said, bulls are strong. Sorry, 11:57. Yeah, 11:57, which was this candle. I'm just gonna go to the next one later. So what did I say? Bulls are strong. It's a decent setup to capitalize on. Only negative confluence for me and not being confident on was the momentum and large range to use LC1. This is the aggressive entry model for me, but at the same time LC2 may not be formed, so this is a conservative entry model. So yeah, this was actually the trading session journal, what I thought. And yeah, I thought I was pretty much being objective with the market, and I thought myself that, yeah, I even went through my trade plan and skimmed through it just quickly and realized that it was a valid setup for me to execute, and I executed, right? And immediately it got stopped out. There was a pound news as well, I think, so that's why it became a little bit volatility. But so yeah, it fit my plan, right? And I said to myself, it fit my plan. There were too many positive confluences not to take this trade, and yeah, I just said to myself, on to the next. It's fine. It is what it is. It's a valid trade, more than valid trade. It was a high probability setup for me. It's fine. And yeah, immediately after I closed my position, I went to my post-trade mindset reflection, which I share with you guys all the time. I do breakdown. So yeah, we'll see. Okay, and what was thinking? So after a session mindset reflection, borrow this, guys. It's really helpful. Okay, how did I feel just after this trade closed? Okay, I was aware of this as well. Since the bearish momentum was strong, it was actually always a possibility of being a fake move when using LC1, that is aggressive entry model for me. But given the overall bullish momentum and with such a well-developed bullish range, it was more than enough for me to take a trade. All right, even I told myself that given the overall bullish momentum with such a well-developed bullish range, it was more than enough for me to take a trade. What was my best mental decision in this trade? Sticking to my plan and actually going through medium probability, low probability trade criteria. It made sense to execute. It was a valid trade. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I even went through my trade plan and I realized that it was a more than valid trade for me to execute. So I executed, right? What mental mistake did I notice? A bit fear and hesitant to trade given the bearish momentum. This momentum, right? Took me a while to realize this setup was worth executing. Okay. Yeah, fine. And did I follow my business trade plan fully? Yes. Mindset relation. What did I learn about my emotion or discipline in this trade? I should be confident when it fits my plan. I should act without any discomfort, right? I don't need to love every setups. I even told myself that, and I just need to execute my trade plan even though I can see some negatives. This is a probability game and not every trade will be perfect, 100%. Same with yesterday, it was not perfect, but I took it and was worth it, right? Yeah, because it kind of like the setup that I took yesterday at the time of this trade yesterday was actually, I didn't love it, but actually it fitted my plan, and then I took it and it was worth it because it was a win. I even broke down, guys, to you. I'm just gonna link that into the description. And yeah, what I'm gonna carry into the next trade: awareness, journaling, analyzing again from high time frames, making sure this setup is worth executing, going through trade plan and making sure this trade is in my plan. So these were all the after session mindset reflection, and yeah, it was worth it to execute according to my trading plan. So see the commonalities, right? So for example, what did I say to myself during session, and actually how I reviewed the after session mindset reflection was actually pretty much common. It was pretty much same, right? I told myself, yeah, it fit my plan. Yeah, I took it. It was worth it, even though it was a loss. It's fine. It's a probability game. And after I did this mindset reflection, it was more than valid for me to use as well, and it was a more than valid trade, right? And I just went on to the next day, and yeah, it was done for me. And right, so the next day I always review my trades with clear head, because I won't be emotionally attached to the outcome of the trade the next day, because there won't be any emotions attached, because it's gone already. And now whenever we actually review the trade, we actually go through with a clear intention and with clear head, and we actually become objective of the trade, right? So the next morning I sat down for my usual review, and man, that's when it hit me. This trade wasn't even my plan. Okay, during the live market, I was so convinced that it fit my plan. I even skimmed through my plan and told myself, yeah, this is valid. But looking at it the next day with a clear head, I realized it was the type of setup I just don't perform well in. Right, a strong momentum against my direction straight into the POI. That's a big negative confluence for me to have. And combining that with session timing, I was trading actually London lull period, so there was a low volume. It was even worse, man. Like, in my plan, this is a big red flag, and I should have been conservative with the entry model. Like I said, I should have used that conservative entry model whenever we have this kind of momentum. And yeah, but instead I went aggressive, and that's the thing. In the moment, right, during the live moment, you can justify almost anything because you want to take the trade, and but when you review it later, without all that live environment, when there is no any pressure, you see the truth actually, right? Because during the live market, we actually have that urge to take a trade, and we find so many positive confluences to actually take a trade and not actually think objective with a clear head. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I said earlier as well. This is the opportunistic entry that I'm talking about. So the planned entry was not good at all. Planned entry was to be conservative. But instead, what did I do in the moment was actually I used the aggressive entry model. So that's a big red flag. I realized that I went through my trade, and I went through with a clear head, and I realized the next day I didn't made this mistake same, because I was able to quickly learn, right? So because of that, and that's why now I have added a checklist rule as well. For example, if a momentum is steep into the POI, I either skip the trade or use a conservative entry model, no exceptions, right? So yeah, I have a few checklists. For example, if I'm overall following the momentum, and the price is pretty much a little bit distant from the POI and from the pulling back starts, so instead of using the aggressive entry model, and especially with this coming momentum, I should always have that conservative entry model. So now what I'm gonna do, the checklist is like, is it really price coming from the momentum? If yes, skip. If price is coming a little bit conservative and it's not coming from far away, instead of it's coming from here, then yeah, I'm gonna use aggressive entry model, because this kind of momentum actually doesn't perform well if you are going long here, because this is often we expect the deeper pullback, and actually that happened, right? See, whenever we have the imbalanced price, and now I became actually the liquidity, so it got reacted, it mitigated the supply, and then it pushed down. See how the move was here is pretty much corrective, and whenever we pulled back, it was pretty much impulsive. So understanding the nature of price action is really key as well. So I'm really glad, and I'm proud of myself that actually I went through my trade and I actually analyzed in depth. So analyzing in depth is really key, guys, okay? And this is why deep post-trade reviews are so important. They stop you from making the same mistake over and over. I only needed to make this one mistake once and now it's fixed, right? Making mistake is fine, but repeating the same mistakes again and again, that's dangerous. You can stay in that loop forever if you don't act on it. And the only way you find out that it is to review your own live performance in depth. Whatever it is for you, like the next day or the next weekend, just do with a clear head where you have that full focus on it. Okay? Do this, right? If you find yourself in the live market and you're not fully confident, yeah, that's a signal to slow down and lean on the process, not emotion, right? Build a checklist that you go through every single time you take a trade, no exceptions. That checklist should also come directly from your own data, not someone else's strategy or random tip you saw online in YouTube. Okay, and go through your winning trades, right? And spot the commonalities that were present before you entered. And then do the same for your losses and identify the patterns. For example, for me, the commonalities from the losses was actually trading when the momentum is there against me. So that's a big red flag for me. And yeah, study your commonalities between winners and losses and make a rule and checklist around that, okay? So once you know both, you can write clear objective rules to filter out low quality trades and only take the ones that actually truly align with your proven edge. This way, you are not actually relying on a feeling in the heat of the moment, because live environment is going to be really tough. And yeah, actually, you will be relying on the evidence. So act on it quickly. Don't make that mistake same again and again, because it's going to take a long time if you keep making the mistake. We really need to learn, okay? So yeah, if you haven't seen yet, I recently broke down a textbook high probability trades where I followed my plan 100% and I shared my full live and post-trade reflection like that. And I have shared my during session journal as well. I'm gonna link somewhere within here. Yeah, so you can compare the two and find the weaknesses, how I was thinking. And this trade was actually not in my plan, and it's really interesting to go through all in this in depth to find the weakness and actually work on it. It's really good. Yeah, if you found this value in this breakdown, then yeah, want to keep improving alongside me, then hit subscribe and join me in the for more session like this. Yeah, I upload every week. I do weekly market breakdown once a week, and I break down the trade if I took during the week. I also do on the weekends, and yeah, I'm gonna go in depth as well. So yeah, thank you so much guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.